The gentleman at Circle who's been taking down MPP flags. I have a picture of the heap of flags that have been piled up, taken around from all over Circle at dawn today and piled up in the offices at near Brasport. Please desist from that. It is not wise. Your business is not to interfere with political party paraphernalia. Your business is to maintain order at Circle. Desist from that. It is not wise. And then my understanding is that the Suhum Road project, rather than the gravel going on the road, is being sold. I don't know whether that's part of the contract, that people are freely and happily buying gravel crushed at the site rather than it going on the road, because that road is causing us a lot of deaths. So that also bears some level of investigation. But tonight, my main focus is the whole notion of a 4-year term and what a president does to deserve another term. Are we going to calcify 8-year, 2-term opportunities on the basis that our first 4 years is just to hang around and hope for the best? Or are we going to be firm and say that if a second term is going to work, it must be built on a solid first term foundation, which I believe is what we are all insisting on now. But tonight, with me to discuss those matters relative to Greater Accra, which is a huge swing region, is to my immediate left, Alhaji Yusuf Fofana, who is the MPP parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso East, popularly known as Nima. Yes. And then next to him, Michael Ampong, MPP Greater Accra Regional Communications Director, popularly known as Jagbele. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Greater Accra, swing.
Yeah.
Is it going to swing back to us now?
Yeah. Let me say good evening to our cherished viewers.
Yes.
I think back on your initial, whether people are going to stick to 8-year tenure.
Yes.
And I think it is closely related to Greater Accra being swing.
Yes.
You see, Greater Accra, unlike other regions, is a highly cosmopolitan region in most constituencies. And it is so because of the rural-urban migration. Areas where you have high urbanization, the reality of economic realities in terms of government policies and alleviation of people's suffering or standards of living and cost of living, they play a major role in determining people's political decisions. And that is why Greater Accra is highly swing in most constituencies. And I can tell you, out of the 27 constituencies in Greater Accra, it is only 8 of them which can be classified as a rural or a typical indigenous community whose vote pattern or voting decisions goes beyond just socioeconomic conditions, or they are guided by ethnocentric and party affiliation. Yes. And I can tell you that this region is continually going to be a swing region. It doesn't matter the propaganda you do. It doesn't matter how many media houses and media personnel you buy to do propaganda. The fact is that because people living here, lives are directly affected by economic policies and programs. Yes. Okay, they are obviously going to be driven by that in deciding whoever becomes their leader, and that is why parties that get the opportunity to be in government must be mindful of their social contract that they had with the people in the previous elections. And I can tell you, from the look of things, I don't see, maybe perhaps in those 8 rural areas, incumbency and ethnocentric sentiments can perhaps play to the government. But we have 19 constituencies that are highly fluid. Highly, and I'm choosing my words here. Highly fluid. Okay. and from the political microscope, I can tell you, there is no way the NDC can beat us to it. Those 8 constituencies, I'm sure they may, even that. But with the remaining 19, I can tell you, the best you can get is about 3 or 4. and the remaining 15 or 16 going for the MPP.
Restoring our past, Father, because we were there, we came back, and the analysis appears to be spot on that urban poverty is a real indicator of voting patterns. Because if you are in the city and you are not able to access social services, you are not able to access health because government policies are difficult, cash and carry is actually back in force, then it affects your thumb.
That is true. That is true, my brother. Just like my brother said, Greater Accra is now the biggest region in terms of voter population and the most difficult region. I'm saying it based on facts and also having been a regional officer before for 12 years, regional youth organizer for 8 years, and deputy regional secretary. It is a difficult region, and it swings.
And now parliamentary candidate for
Ayawaso East. Yeah, but like he rightly said, you know, we came very close to winning the 19 seats, he said, by winning 16 seats before. And then the propaganda, you know, in the last election made us to lose most of the seats. But that notwithstanding, Greater Accra is where people look for job than any region in Ghana. It's where people look for shelter. It's where people, and when you look at the sort of promises that this government gave the people of Greater Accra and Ghana for that matter, and I can tell you for sure that has not been delivered, it tells you that Greater Accra is gone. And it tells you that MPP is in a position to win the 16 and above, more than 16 seats this time around in Greater Accra. We are all working very hard, and I believe so well. With the kind of leadership that we have in Greater Accra now, they are working around the clock. And at our last primaries, you can see clearly the candidates that we have for this election are really candidates that you can say, yes, they are going to fight and fight and fight and win most of the seats that we just said. So I believe so well that having come this far, and our people, that is the NDC, still going around beating about the bush, it tells you that we are almost there. We are almost there.
Can I hazard that Ayawaso East is one of the 16 or 19?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I am going to win that seat, and I'm going to cause the biggest upsets in political history, simply because I'm a product of that constituency. And I've just told you where I have come from a very humble beginning, and then having been a polling station officer, a ward secretary, constituency youth organizer, constituency deputy organizer, the whole Greater Accra regional youth organizer for 8 years, and just immediate past deputy regional secretary. That tells you a humble young boy from Nima, a typical Zongo boy, who has risen, have gone through the pipeline to have gotten to this stage. And also having worked closely with the chiefs, you know, and with a strong family background. And also, it is our party that kept growing, unlike the NDC, which hovers around the 44,000, 50,000 votes. We started from 11,000 in 1992 to 22,000 in 96 to 33,000 in 2000. That's the presidential. Kufuor won and won the presidential elections in Ayawaso for the first time.
Don't know that.
Yeah, many people don't know.
We
won.
ran.
Yeah, when Chalk ran, that's why you also won that election. I was then the campaign manager, you know, and we won that election. We had 33,000. President Atamels, then a candidate, had 32,000. That was in 2000. In 2004, we had 36,000 votes. In Nima of all places. And this time around, they have someone like me, Yusuf Fofana, coming, you know. And, you know, Nima is such that they go in for someone they can trust, who has a strong family background. And the Fofana name I had through playing football. I played to the highest level. And for the mere mention of my name, even a small boy will take you to my house. That tells you that Nima is falling. That's how come the president came there last time. Why should he come to Nima to buy kinky? Because he heard that this time we have a very strong candidate there. And the candidate is also a cousin to the MP, the sitting MP, who has been there for 3 terms and has not performed. And everybody is rooting for this new candidate, Alhaji Yusuf Fofana. So
everybody is rooting for Fofana. Let me ask Mike whether he will hazard You are very confident. But let me see how Mike classifies his 8, first of all, whether you fall in or out of it.
Well, like I said earlier on.
Now, I want to know your 8.
You're my 8.
Not yet. Not yet. You reserve it for now.
I wouldn't want to mention.
You are still working there.
No, I wouldn't want to mention. No, I know them.
I mean, you are still working there to switch it round.
I am not just a fanatic politician. I also have some intelligence background, so I know what I'm talking about.
Very good.
The 8 constituencies, which to me, strategically, it is strategic. I would say it's extremely difficult, history-wise. Yeah. And what informs people's political decisions. Okay. They mainly fall within rural settings in Greater Accra. Don't forget, when we say Greater Accra, people look at only Accra Central. Yeah. We have rural Accra.
That's right.
Okay, Adansi, Ningu Prampram, Tubo, Amasaman, Bumdomiabra.
Beyond the metropolitan area.
But don't forget that there are others also who over the years are becoming highly urbanized because of the high cost of renting and high cost of living within the metropolitan Accra. Okay. And so the dynamics in some of these hitherto perceived rural settings are changing. And I can tell you, with a good strategy, I don't see why a place like Ningu Prampram, Itimisa should even win the election. Okay, and I'm being very frank here, and I'm being very sincere. A place like Tubo Amasaman, okay, with a very good strategy, okay, I don't see why the NDC can even go onto it, because you see, the rate of urbanization is so high. Yeah. It's so high. So but I'm not saying that those constituencies mentioned are within the 8.
Yes, you have refused to mention the 8, and I accept that. I am just pushed you as hard as I could, but you have refused to mention
them. But I'm saying that because of the high rate of urbanization and the challenges of an urban dweller, okay, certainly the NDC is not going to enjoy that overwhelming support in those areas. Okay, but the remaining 19 constituencies, per the messages, promises, pledges, manifesto, whatever programs of the NDC, the kind of lies they told the people of Ghana. I can tell you, let me be specific here. Someone like Namwali, I'm sure if he's listening, I can tell you, I don't see the kind of message he's bringing back to the people of La. Because he had virtually made the Ghana land issue a major campaign message, where he took traditional chiefs, opinion leaders, young boys with influence, take them stand at La Wireless and tell them, look at the cantonment. Okay, all those Ghana at 50 buildings. This one is for Kufuor, this one is for Kodopini, this one is for Nanado, this one is for Alanchimantin. Now, 4 years after the MPP has left, those buildings are still on the Ghana land. It's been occupied by NDC activists, those or NDC members of government. Take the Ring Road Estate. Okay. Yeah. We have a spring of Ghana at 50 buildings, and then the Rollins area, the Ridge area. I know the region very well. Okay, these are areas where people in government who made noise, like I got that they still live. Okay, no. Okay, and so I wonder how you are going to tell the people that, because you used to tell them that it is for Kufuor and it's for Kodumpianim. Yeah. Now people have left. It's been occupied by people in government, so it's still the NDC, MPP looting Ghanaians.
Symptomatic of the campaign that the NDC ran. They blamed everything on the former administration. 4 years later, we are going into another election. Do they really have a message beyond the blame game? I have always wondered, when the two-term issues come up, whether Ghanaians would simply vote for a president because the president has had one term and needs another term to finish their agenda. In which case, if we have a quiz or a de facto two-term 8-year presidency, then we might as well not campaign at all. Because after every 8 years, you wait your turn and you take over the keys to the Jubilee House, provided you are living there already. Or if somebody is in the castle, you take the keys and go and take the cobwebs down in Jubilee House and move in. And after 8 years, somebody else comes. Or whether the Ghanaian voter is going to be policy sensitive. Policy sensitive in the sense that they feel impacted by the things government does, which affects their ability to transport themselves to work, which affects their ability to provide themselves with nutritious food. If you eat 4 balls of 50 cedi kenke, at a sitting, then you know that the cost of KK is not really 50 pesos. You eat 2 with stew and you mash 2 and top it up.
Some do the flat stomach.
And then,
so you can imagine a protruding stomach.
About access to health facilities, about access of your children to affordable school facilities, about access to rent, utilities, water, electricity, gas, the things that make an urban existence run. And tonight, we are getting a very interesting response. My Kampong, Greater Accra Regional Communications Officer of the MPP, is telling us that he believes that Greater Accra is so policy sensitive that the NDC's failure to deliver has surely killed them in the region. Mike, yes, you stick your neck out for that?
Yeah, I can stick out my neck for that. And I believe the National Security Coordinator, Bubulati, will agree with me. I believe strongly he will agree with me. I believe strongly he will agree. I wonder the kind of messages Professor Mills will be taking around Greater Accra.
What did they tell you?
Places like, well, people of Greater Accra, we have indigenous issues that were made political.
Okay.
By President Mills. And that is why
the balance and tension between land for metropolitan
there were
purposes.
Traditional indigenous issues.
Yeah.
That Professor Mills made them political.
Okay.
He comes in and he has worsened them.
I see.
Well, land issues, I can tell you it is worse now. You go to Nungwa, you go to Teshin, you go to Labadi, it's worse. You go to places like the chieftaincy issues, you go to Usu proper. Okay, Usu proper. I believe now there are thinking about two chiefs, two chiefs. You go to Gamashin, where the Gamache himself, we don't know whether he's been suspended or he's been prevented from acting as the Gamache. Okay, and these were major issues. And then beyond that, there were other economic issues or industrial issues, indigenous industrial issues, like the fisher folk. Okay. The fisher folk issue. You go to a place like Temanu Town, okay, where Professor Mills had virtually told the people, I won't say NDC, I'll say Professor Mills, because we have the recording, had told the people that because the Ashantis are rural, they come from the bush, and that is how ethnocentric President Mills was. Very ethnocentric. And when I put about he being a Christian, I wonder, the Ghanaians are playing that back to him. He told them that the Ashantis are ethnocentric, as if Akua is an Ashanti, okay, and that they want to ensure that the Ghan's influence on the Ghan land is wiped away, to the extent that even the sea at one point or the other will be taken to Kumasi.
The sea?
Yes, I'm telling you, that is Professor for you. That's the kind of man you call a man of God. And that is why when I see any pastor who's a man of God, because the men of God, when we were at the university, their life was more of an inspiration to us. Some of them, I hear them through it, and I don't want to listen to them again. I'm telling you, this is the kind of person they claim is a man of God.
So lies, outright lies were told.
Outright lies. No, let me tell you something. There's something the MPP is not even making. In Tamanuta, you know, between the Dava base and then the landing beach site, where the WAF is even destroyed. Yeah. It's on record. I'm sure people from Tema are watching me. It's on record. Professor Mills went there between 2008 February and October. He went there 7 times on the WAF. The WAF is a place where they normally do their mending when after the...
Yes. Yes.
And said a lot of ethnocentric statements. Okay? When they came into government in 2009 January, by April, August, okay, the government of Ghana, and in this case the Navy, wanted to take back the land where the fisher folk, the fisher women from Ada, Sugakopi, Sidi, okay, and in the event, they killed, and I'm using the word killed, or they murdered 2 prominent royal family members from Tamadu town.
In that process?
I am telling you today. Why? Why when Professor Mills came to, he did the so-called Greater Accra tour. Why couldn't he enter in Tamanita? Why couldn't he enter there? And when Rollins tells that they are losing grounds, they believe money can change it. I'm telling you, we will play to the latter. They did Issa Bubila, okay? A political issue. A political issue. And you think the people of Ghana at Newtown, okay, they are not human beings. What has he said about those two royal or 2 hells who were murdered? Okay, and now they are saying, oh, it is the Navy who killed them.
This was the riot.
Was Isa Bobula killed Bakufo?
This was the riot. This was the riot that I think the Royal Palace was attacked.
Yes.
The youth.
Yeah. And the matter is in court, and it's obviously the government is losing the case. Okay, and they are doing everything possible to now portray that it was the Navy. Since
but
when,
the Navy is particularly
no. Since when did we try to delink the state institutions from government? When Isa Bobula was alleged to have been killed by military personnel,
yes,
and yet they said MPP,
yes,
okay,
yes.
So now in the case of Temanu Town, it is Navy and not Atanos. It's Atanos. I would tell them it's Atanos.
So that is your second factor, the rural economic factor. Now there's another one. So
I am saying that, you see, beyond the socio-economic issues and urban issues, there were other indigenous traditional issues like chieftaincy, land disputes, like these clashes between the Navy and the indigenous Ghana people at Newtown. Beyond that, look, there are traditional rulers who have been beaten up. The Ghana Palace was near with feces for the first time. I hear Adekoka talks about it, and people don't know. We have just kept our quiet because perhaps that's our tradition, decency. Adekoka was our Adekoka, the NDC regional chairman. Yes. I'm sure he's listening. Okay, he was the MPP constituency chairman for Ablekuma South in 1992.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You see, people don't know all these things, and I hear some of them talking. It's as if they came from the skies. Okay, and I can hear him talk. So look, today, and when Mills went round, he was talking about Dodowa, a palace in Dodowa, where there was a refurbishment. I have went there personally. Why? We were all born in Accra. We have lived in Accra. I am more of a Ghana than a Fanti. I can tell you today. I've played football in Accra with people like Joe Familia and others. It's not just doing math. Okay? And I can tell you, what they claim they did in Dodowa, compare that one to the Gamanche Palace at North Condition here. The entire Gamanche Palace, which was bequeathed to them by Achampon, okay, it used to be the regional administration. Before the MPP came, it was uninhabitable. The MPP government, through the Ejiri Blanson administration, a total rehabilitation. I know what I'm not. It's not propaganda.
Yes.
Buildings, furniture, and everything. Yes. But yet, you never heard President Kufuor go in there to even commission it, because it's been an insult to what the leadership. And yet, when you ask Adekoka the achievement of the Mills administration, you tell Dodowa,
okay, they built a palace.
Okay, and yet they even had the courage to use political partisan influence to defeat the Gamanche Palace. And yet they call themselves the love guys more than them. We are waiting for them.
Amazing. Profana, the economic issues, the youth, Nima, are the jobs there? Are they accessing health? Are they able to go to school? What is happening?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Wabin. I quite remember in 2008, around this time, election year, the MPP were out there trumpeting our achievements in government, telling people what we've been able to do over the years. That has to do with health insurance, youth employment, capitation grant, school feeding, but we were out there doing it. You have to ask yourself, why is the NDC not doing it? We are in an election year. What have they done, for them to have come out to say, we have done this, we have done that? They've not done anything. That is why they are on the quiet. And that is why they are attacking Nana Akufo-Addo's personality. By saying he's touched this girl's breast, Nana Akufo-Addo is this, he's a weed smoker. You're just listening to them, because they have no message, like my brother is saying. They know they are losing grounds. The former President Rawlings told them they lost their election 8 years in government. 8 months. 8 months in government. Yes. That's what he told them.
He tested the temperature and realized that
he told them
the thing was malaria.
Seriously. And Greater Accra, like we told you, they have worsened the chieftaincy, this thing in Greater Accra. How many Ghana chiefs do we have today? I think we have about 3. 3 Ghana chiefs, never in the history of Ghana this thing, in Accra, under Moses' watch. That tells you that they are losing grounds. And these people are complaining. What they told them, that has to do with premise fuel. Where is it? The coloration of the fuel. Where is the premise fuel? The outboard motors that we sold to them. Yes, the blue premise. That we sold to them at 27 or 26 million. Yes, thereabout. It's about 80, 85 million today. They cannot even afford to buy it. Where are these things? These are things that we have to look at. And these are things that people will look at before voting.
Rich Hospital was turning away pregnant women.
Seriously.
When they were supposed to have free medical
maternal health care.
There was no space for them. They
there was no space. They cannot.
Kolebu has detained
a lot of people, women who have even with health insurance. They are being turned away. It has collapsed. That is why, we are not complacent. We're going out there to work. We're going out there to campaign. We have a message. We have a track record. We perform when we're in government. And that is what we're going to use to let Ghanaians know that they have to vote for Nana Akufo-Addo to become the next president of this country. The poverty level, look at the poverty level, it's very high. People cannot, we left even a tin of milk at 5.5 cedis, 70 thereabout. It's about 1 Ghana, 30 pesos now. Yeah, around 15,000, 13,000 now. It's the smaller thing. You understand? Yes. These are the things people are looking at. Not Nanado going around touching breasts. When I came here, they did some makeups for me. Did I touch anybody's breast? I never did it. These are things that the NDC will continually preach. They thought these are the message that will give them votes. But these messages will not give them votes today. It will not give them votes tomorrow. We lost the last election with the slimmest of margin. Irrespective of all the lies that they told about us. We won the first round. 49% and they had 47%. That is their strength. And that was our strength too then. In the second round, the smaller parties can decide to go anywhere. That made them to come into power. With the slimmest of margin. Never in the history of this thing. That was why when Obama came, he said, look, Ghana have done something that he had never seen before. Even with the slimmest of margin, we handed over power. Nana Addo went out there to concede defeat, and we handed over power. And I'm telling the NDC today, they should look at the results again and ask themselves whether they've performed to be able for Ghanaians to give them another term. That is what we look. We use that as a yardstick, whether they deserve another term. It's simple and straightforward. And I believe they know they're out of government. That's how come they are going out, attacking personalities.
We have a character battle ahead of us, and those who are attacking personalities on the basis of trumped up. Did you hear that everybody watched the African election? There was nothing about Nana touching anybody's breast. The extract had actually been taken out and doctored and then put on air. And, well, I hope the president is aware, because that's a supreme political insult. So now we are telling him, if he's aware, he should sanction them. We'll take our second break. When we come back, we'll delve deeper into what will make the upcoming campaign. Yes, Nana Akufo-Addo has been in London, and one of the things he raised was the fact that he handed over peacefully on the slimmest of election margins, unprecedented in Ghana, probably in sub-Saharan Africa. Question, in that election, in the first round, if it was personality to personality, Nana and then Dr. Bawumia, who was running mate, beat the combination of Professor Mills, President Mills now, and then His Excellency Vice President John Mahama by a very sound margin of over 100,000 votes. Very sound margin. The MPP still contends that we lost that election because of our disarray in Parliament, where we lost over 21 seats, including a massive loss in Greater Accra. Now, question, having been in government for 4 years, having performed so abysmally, not being able to point to 1, 2, 3 things that they have really initiated and carried forward to a point where it has impacted on the lives of people, is candidate Mills and his running mate, Vice President John Mahama, in a position to make this election any different from what happened the last time, considering that the MPP have put our house in order, and that if Nana is going to beat them again, as he did decisively on the first round, whether there is going to be a second round, whether it's going to be as close as it was. And if now, after we've reflected, rebuilt, we are sound enough to recover. Mike, Greater Accra is swing. I still look at whether or not we can claw back those seats. But having said that, it's the vote in Nima, which has been going up, and a Sherman, enclaves, as it were, a barometer of how Accra can go.
Well, let me say that when you look critically at Greater Accra, we have indigenous Ga community constituencies like Krowo, Lejikuku, Larade Kotopon, Otekole, Odododio, Ablekman South. And then we also have constituencies that may not be indigenous constituencies, but they are a mixture of Ga communities, or the indigenous Ga communities, and our brothers settled themselves from the northern way.
Settled from all over Ghana.
You know, yeah, but I can tell you see, when you look at the elections very well, the NDC's campaign strategy was to stoke in, or was to fire up certain, traditional ethnocentric issues. Yeah. For example, I am not surprised that the NDC made so much gains along the indigenous Ghana community, the coastal line, because issues like the congestion was a major issue. When you go to Klotekole and Odododio, decongestion, because we had started the decongestion, though we had made an arrangement for an alternative. People were being moved to the Udona or the Circle Caucus market. Yeah. And yet, people like Amabenuado and Kuswampafu and Baba Jama and others, who claim they are, some of them, like, for example, claim the church elder. Okay? Interestingly, he's now the local government minister. Okay? Under whose watch he has a bearded
decongestant. Yes. He decongests everywhere.
Okay. In the presence of Vanderpool, okay, doing worse things. And I ask myself, does this honorable Fusambafu play back? Okay, and he still have the gas. He say he's coming for Temawe seat. Because it's an Achim, and he believes there are more Achims in Temawe. It's not interesting.
Metropolitan.
I don't want to. You see, so the point is that certain areas, and then Ghana lands issues, fishing industry challenges, like pearl trawling, like the cost of fishing inputs. And interestingly, like my brother mentioned, those cost of fishing inputs that perhaps were seen to be more than escalated. Now, they are more than 5 times the price that he mentioned. Okay, so then coming to the Zongos, this unfortunate incident in Dagbon. Yes. This Yana issue, okay, and then the unfortunate death of Issa Mobila. Also a major issue within the Zongos, and they will attest to it. Okay, and interestingly, and that is why I agree with President Rollins, ex-President Rollins, because he was one of the key architects. He comes to the local community, okay, and he raised these issues, and they put hey, and the first flag is when we come to government, the first 100 days, the Issa Mobila or the Rihanna killers and all those bazaar. So it is not due perhaps to people perceiving the MPP as not performing. Okay, I can tell you the average person in Greater Accra, I won't say Ghana, in Greater Accra, it doesn't matter the ethnic background, the religious background, believe that the MPP performed. I have friends who are close, who are deep, and not just NDC activists, okay, who believe that the Kufu administration performed. But there were other issues that goes against us as a party, like this motor court, where commercial drivers were arrested, this pear trolling issue, this gun
so when it's in the urban, it's very complex. So let me find out from Fofana how Hajj will play out. Because I saw that the president, after buying Kinky, was on an onslaught over that weekend. He also went to the mosque on Friday and promised that he was going to start Hajj immediately.
You should have gone to Saudi Arabia.
He's asked them to start the arrangements now. And the question is whether it is going to be used as an inducement within the Zobo community.
Yeah, thank you very much. The president was there last week, and I believe so well that he will go and revise his notes. Because Nima, of all places, when he came, there was, yes, inside also four places. If you see the crowd that came out to cheer him up, you can count them.
His bodyguards were more than the crowd.
The crowd. You can count them. You can count them. At a point, one gentleman was even arrested by just hooting at him. He was arrested. You know, my brother, Nima is the place where NDC always have most of their votes outside the voter region, and they are losing grounds in Nima. That was why he came to Nima. He chose Nima because of that. Because the sitting MP is my cousin, so it's going to be a straight family fight.
But he went to the mosque at Abosokai.
Yeah.
Didn't he? On Friday?
That day.
No, on Friday.
Yes, I was out of town, so maybe.
Yeah, you're not aware.
Yeah,
okay.
I was not
on
aware.
Friday he went to. That's where he promised that they should start Hajj preparations immediately. So
yeah,
that
my
it
brother.
goes smoothly and all that. And I suspect that when you
It
begin
will not
Hajj,
wash
then
this time around.
you are looking at
It will not wash. You know, they made
passing
Hajj.
through a few hundred protocol tickets.
They made the Hajj pilgrimage a major campaign issue when we were in government. They made it a major campaign issue. And when they came into government, what did we see? Two Hajj, the first Hajj, they said it was successful. The second Hajj, almost 1,000 people were left behind. And just last Hajj, almost 400 people were left behind. So now in the Zongus, even among themselves, they cannot even talk about Hajj. They cannot use the Hajj, you know, to let the Muslims, for that matter, think they are better when it comes to management of Hajj. They are even worse off. You know, I'm saying this on authority because I live in the biggest Zongo in Ghana, that is Nima for you. And people... I
always fear it's going to be a barometer of how the rest of the Zongos vote.
It cannot, because they have failed. And people are saying it already. They have failed. Do you know that when the Jeddah airport, anytime it's closed, there's no way it can be open. But during our time, it was open.
Yes.
It has never been opened before in the history of Hajj.
That's right.
Never, since Muhammad's time till date. But when I think about 300 or so pilgrims were left behind, Kufuor was out there in America. He just had to talk to the Prince of Saudi, and then they gave us the chance, and we airlifted them there. That thing has made the people in the Zongos to know that we are better when it comes to management of Hajj, because they have also failed by leaving a lot of pilgrims behind. So that one there is 1-1 draw.
So but
when it comes to diplomacy, Kufuor demonstrated it. Yes. And they know Nana Addo Dankwa, who lives with them in the Zongo. You know his house where it is?
Oh, yes.
And the father was then a lawyer to most of our grandfathers. So they know Nana Addo very well. You know, the last election they voted. I don't know what happened. But this time around, they have promised to vote en masse for Nana Addo. Because Nana Addo has demonstrated that, look, being a Nima boy, he had lived almost all his life in Nima, though he was born at Koluoko, but he grew up in Nima. He had lived in Nima, and he's even staying with us. You know, and frequently, from time to time, he visits them. And I believe so well, since they cannot use the Hajj now, they cannot use Yana's this thing, which was also a major campaign issue, Mobila's this thing, which they cannot use now. It is our turn also to pay them back. You know, we asked the Zongos. They told you they will, when you vote for them, in the first 100 days, they will make sure they apprehend or arrest. Yes, we have it. We have all the video tips. That is it. And they will arrest those who killed or murdered Diana, which you know is not true. You know you cannot do that. You know, they went about arresting people left, right, and center. What happened? They were released. You know, this is something that weigh heavily against the NDC in this election. The Yana and Mobila's case.
What about infrastructure?
Infrastructure, you can look. Most of this thing they are commissioning now are takeover projects that we left behind. Takeover and funded projects. Tell me a single project that they went, lobbied, you know, did everything, brought it, did the project and commissioned. One single project. They are takeover projects. And most of them are still lying there. Look at the Suhum Apejwa Road. Look at the Tetekwashi Runabout, Adenta Medina Road. Look at the Sufo line something. Look at all the rest, the remaining ones. You know, they are takeover projects that they cannot even complete. You know, so what are they going to tell Ghanaians this time around? I believe.
This, by the way, I think the strategies for the President Mills, perhaps think that there's a way he can use populism to woo back Greater Accra.
Okay.
And that is why he's trying to buy Kinky. But I want to tell him now. Now, Kinky, the average cost of Kinky, and people now feel Banku is more, you know, Banku.
Yes.
Okay. Because that's how I look at it.
More viable.
Because Banku feeds a lot of people. We eat more Banku.
Yes.
So the next time he comes, I'm telling you, anytime he comes to Tamanita or Nungwa, you should try patronize Banku and see whether how many of the sizes he can buy. Well, interestingly,
4 balls of cake.
Yeah, 4 balls. So I can imagine the size of Banku, and then looking at the nature of his stomach, I can imagine the number of balls that someone like Anido Ho will be eating. Because I have a stomach that's about 1/10 the size of Anido Ho, and I take 10 or 8 balls, so I'm sure he can.
So in Greater Accra, the cost and price of kinky will matter in this election.
No, you see, it's a key thing. You see, and interestingly, you know, the president bought 4 balls. Did not buy fish. He did not buy fish. Okay.
He had stew at home.
Stew at home. But the ordinary person that Bessie or Koliwoko or Kinka, okay, I'm not talking about real Ghana communities. We'll buy kinky with fried fish and hot pepper. But on a serious note, you see, I slowly believe that and I'm happy they are getting it wrong. They feel certain populist strategies worked. He moves into a mosque, and I say, so let us begin working on what? Pilgrimage. If that will work, then I can bet you, for the first time, it should be the first Osofo who will go to Mecca on a pilgrimage.
The first or someone to go to Mecca on a pilgrimage. Yes. That's a classic. We'll take our last break. When we come back, you can join us on the phone lines. We've had the privilege of listening to Alhaji Yusuf Fofana, who is the MPP parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso East, and Mike Lampong, who is the MPP Greater Accra Regional Communications Director. They've been reviewing the state of the MPP within the Greater Accra region. But more important, Nana has been reviewing the state of leadership in Ghana. And clearly, there's a serious vacuum in leadership. Beyond that, we are also establishing that corruption will not be tolerated in a government that hopefully by the grace of God come December 2012 and thereafter into 2013 will be led by Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Corruption must decisively and effectively be tackled. You can't turn around corruption here, corruption there, corruption everywhere, and then say that because you managed to secure a couple of public servants, you have dealt with corruption. What about the political leadership to whom the public servants are ultimately responsible? Nana has also been discussing economic transformation. He's been discussing how to turn our natural resources into value-added products that will, along the chain of value addition, deliver jobs, incomes, and taxes for the people of Ghana. Certainly, you are no stranger to the fact that Nana is bound by his own utterances, responsibly bound to deliver free education up to SHS level. And that is the basis of how we'll transform this economy, as he explains consistently to us. He himself is the product of education, and the benefit of education is that it enables you to push so far ahead that you can change the circumstances for which you rose and change other people, including your nation as well. Phone lines 0302 211 701 702, 0302 211 701 702. Fofana,
yeah.
How many languages do you speak?
Yeah, I speak almost all major Ghanaian languages, very fluently.
Major Ghanaian languages?
Almost all major Ghanaian languages.
I see.
Yeah.
How many languages are you compelled to speak in your constituency? What is the mix?
Ga, Hausa, and Twi.
I see.
Yeah.
In Nima?
Yeah, in Nima, yeah.
So can you talk to my brethren a little in Hausa for me. My Hausa is rusty, otherwise I will contest you on that.
That's great. Thank you very much, Mr. Yabwabia Samwa. Young Waina Mazada Mata na Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Abinda ke ciki ne siyasa ba ibada bane. Siyasa ba addini bane. Siyasa muna yi ne domin amfanin da ke cikin siyasa. Shi muke nema. Nana Ado Dankwa Akufo-Addo ya nuna muna cewa izan shi ya zo wahalan da muke ciki da ikon Allah zai bar wannan wahala ya bace. Kuma mutum ne mai yi da duban shi da maganan shi da inda ya kai cikin politics. So shi ina kiran hankulan zuwa mutane mu zuwa ga Nana Akufo-Addo. Kamar mu vote mai mu san kamar mutum ne da zai yi don ya taba yi. Mutum ne kuma mai aminci da ya san kuma girman mutane. Mu da shi ke kwana muna tashi cikin zangonmu cikin nima saboda shi mu vote mai. Kuma bayan wannan nima Alhaji Yusuf Fofana da zan saya parliamentary candidate ku kun san ni na san ku ni da kuma kai hidima mu hidima kwarai kuma ni na san ciwon nima da Easter yawa so for that matter.
I have a call from Bolga. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes sir.
Good evening.
Yes sir. Go ahead sir.
Yeah. I'm Amos calling from Bolga.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Bobby, good evening.
Good evening, sir. We are all listening to you. The whole world. Yes. KDC Multi TV is listening. Please go ahead.
I can see you all. I believe, and I want to just throw this up to you. As you sit there and as you return home, just ask yourself whether all that you are saying, do the people of Greater Accra trust us that we are the people to solve these problems? That is a very important question you must ask yourself. It's not just about sitting to complain about the problems. Since you started, I've been listening to you. Your point is just that they did it to us. We'll do it to them. No concrete alternative that you are providing. You are just there for they do me, I do you. Do they trust you that you MPP? Because election is like relationship. Whether you are the people to come and solve their problems. That is what you must answer before Ampong and Fofana and you. For you, yeah,
very good. Thank you very much. We are grateful for your call.
Yeah.
Fofana, speak to your people.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I think I'm almost done, but let me speak a little Gan too. Inyame niji dang baby ke game ni wo ni ma ke Easter yawaso. No no you no ji. Politics na fio ne je nyungo jamoni.
Eliasu, I have Eliasu on the line. Hello. Hello. I think I'm having technical problems tonight.
Okay. Jenyum wa Germany. She won't feel politics eji no koni won fe no kokko won wenche wa shihile. Shihile akpanu wa ana ke won man niji wa kuchu hu bo no ba sa won man ke wa kuchu. No han wo fe politics. Ka akola ke nye lonche ye NDC wo beje non ka fe no ko ha bopo beje non MPP wo fe ko dan ni nyana. Easter ya waso what tuni ojogban ni kufuo yo no nye kwa nima both sides of nima no me a big drains gata wujin yo jeme kufuo ba sili fe ni wono pavement ni mena wonyo no ipapako minhye kufuo ngaba nima Easter ya waso.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, my greeting to Alhaji Yusuf. Tell him that he's good friend from Accra, in the Ashakuku to be precise. My name is Manan Isa. I was listening to your program far away from Accra in the Ashanti region, and I was attesting to the fact that, yeah, Greater Accra is really a swing region. They vote according to the fortune of the nation. And since they voted for this National Deceitful Congress, that's the new name for NDC in Nigeria now. National Deceitful Congress. They have not seen any improvement, and they have now turned their attention to Nana Ado Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and they will vote for him massively so that he will be able to curb corruption and sustain national development. And they will again vote for Mohammed Salisu Bamba for Hijra City Dumasi constituency. I am a Muslim. I am proud of MPP because for the first time in the history of Ghana, my Quran, the holy book of the Muslim Quran, is used to swear the highly rated office of the as the vice president of the country. So every Muslim should be proud of that, and it is the NPP who has done that. Thank you very much. Once again, this is Manan.
Thank you very much. Do I still have my call from Sisala West?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity given. In fact, you people, you are doing a good job, but somewhere along the line, it's not so good. It seems you people have forgotten that all that Bidai is still in the memories of most Ghanaians. And I believe most people are going to judge based on that. That word can never go away. No matter what Akufo-Addo change it, we will still vote against it based on that. Because we don't want Ghana to be on fire. Thank you very much.
For your information, Nana-Addo hasn't changed all that Bidai. All that Bidai is meant to be a mechanism for Ghanaians to stand up and defend democracy. It's as simple as that. Those who will seek to disturb the beauty of democracy are forewarned that in the interest of all of us, it is better to play according to the rules. All that Bidai is not and has never meant that it is everything at all costs. It simply means that our democracy is too precious and that our forefathers who have indeed died in protecting this democracy must be honored. Their memory must be honored with a defense of it so that it will be sustained for the future. Only freedom brings development. That's the motto of the MPP, development in freedom. Hello. Mike, give me a little Gadangbe. Okay.
Let me run up. Let me thank my brother. I want to talk about this all Bidai issues.
Okay.
Quickly. I believe even in our national anthem and help us to resist oppressors' rule with all our will and might forevermore. It is there. It's not about going to fight and kill. No. It has rather re-energized the MPP youth for us to know that we have to protect the ballot box. That's number one. Number two, all die and then Ghana will be like Kenya. Which one is more dangerous? Which one? All die and there are so many ways of killing a cat. Which one is more dangerous? All die and Nana, what is the name? Baba Jamal calling for a jihad because of 6 polling stations in his constituency. Which one? He should tell me. And then all die, you compare to these 3 things that I've just said. And I don't think it is something. It is something that we've said over and over again. It's not about.
We are not on the defensive.
Seriously,
when that is going. That's why I was laughing and smiling. For us, it's very important that democracy is sustained for future generations because so many people sacrifice for freedom and liberty.
That is true.
Mike, give me a little Gadangbe.
James Star, allo Koluoko, allo Kinka, allo Nungwa, allo Nyeteshien. Ake afinele solino. Solino nehu. Solino no ake wo wali no fen wo yo. Deni bokoke ba wieke. Woke wogame woke chele wonye dajo e. Ke chele ngoju dajo e. Atamios Igbeda ni won pe chele ni won agechele agbena mi ni ejo anya pe ebe corrupt she were corrupt ni corruption ni wo ba wo ke internal audit act ba wo ke procurement act ba wo ke whistleblowers ba commercial court ne ke the high in temperature ne ke fast track defense wo ke ba ni information bill ekra wo initiate Papa le de ke na chele pa ni e de ke small corruption ye won na wo yumi won na yariga won na betimodidusu won na komna dufuo won na muntaka won na bambagbeme na aju trato na anya yi nyeme na yu na ke na abada ke wo ya le na so wo fe won no ni ochekofo fi James Town ne Teshin ne ni won na habo ke ni bi ni ata na Africa designs na ba laka wo na ka gbe na ada premise agbe na po wo leka ada po wonye me je no mo ba wi na akofo do ke e ba transform Ghana na ke wonye wo fe wo ke ko te Asia ka ni bi ye je gold je oil je cocoa she the mind power we ke the bedrock of transforming Ghana ji about free education free wonye wo ya no game nya wo te ashi she na chele na wonye wo chele je de go nke shi
chele your guy is far advanced. Chele, you have to teach me what it is. I thought I was a guy aficionado, but so you've lost